Chapter 1. Just a normal day. My name is Jose Juan. I have been seeking for more informations about reality. I've been living for 14 years, confused, and wanting to learn something new about life. I had a very good time in my school, bonding with friends, drawing while the teacher was teaching, and reading fantasy books. About my social life, I am one of the members of the group which is just a normal circle of friends. There were 3 members in my circle of friends and I am one of them. Those members are Gianna, Lush, and me. Gianna is a busy friend of mine. She was a very smart girl with a very good calming voice. She once helped me feel better after I did something bad. She was my personal therapist without a license. To Lush, she is a very active and loud girl with a curious mindset. Last week of February 4th Friday, she once found the paper of Hill, which is just an ancient paper used to make wishes. She found them by just walking into the abandoned basement of the school. A place where students are not allowed to enter. The paper of Hill was a very wanted illegal object. It was always wanted by the government for the safety for its people, because one wrong wish or decision can affect anyone's life, or maybe take anyone's life. I have already introduced myself at the beginning, but some of my introductions are not properly introduced. To me, I am a talkative guy with a sarcastic and humorous personality. I am the loudest in the group, and I am a writer in the group. The story started on the day of February 7th in the year of 2011, Monday, just a normal day we thought. When I saw my friend Lush on this specific day, I noticed that she has been in her very quiet state. She looks like she had a lack of sleep, and I also noticed that she had bruises on her hands. So I asked her curiously with concern, "What happened, girl? Did you sleep peacefully? Are you concerned about your health?" After I asked her, she replied, "It is nothing, I slept peacefully, and I am always concerned about my health, you know that." Those words of her had the potential to make me calm. It's just the tone she said while replying that is making me worried. So, as a talkative guy, I then started telling her the nightmare I had before that day started. In my notorious nightmare, there were a bunch of hands who were immobilizing me, trapping me, and beating me like I was their target. All of the hands are pale with blood, have long nails, and they are very slimy and slippery, if you ask me about the texture. The conversation between me and her was pretty boring, to be honest. She was just listening, while I was just talking. She suddenly changed her attitude and vibes. After I told her about my notorious nightmare, she then looked at me, then asked the time where I got the nightmare. As a boy that knows what time it happened, I then told her the exact time and date, 2:09 a.m., yesterday. I knew the exact time and moment. As I said the time and date to where my nightmare happened, a big guy then suddenly jumped at us, accidentally, making Lush suddenly fall on my shoulder. As her hand touches my shoulder that was about to be shattered by the impact, a loud noise then came to my head. The noise was a very high-pitched noise. It exactly went into my ears at the time where Lush fell on me. And as the noise went on, my consciousness then began to flow out of the reality, separating me from this physical world. In all of my 14 years living in this world, this day made me realize and know the truth of why Lush looked very tired and stressed. I woke up on Lush's body, feeling immobilized. I have the free will to escape in this mental state of mine, but I just want to know the truth. I cannot see Lush specifically, I was spectating her point of view. I can also feel her emotion at that time. One of them is scared and tired. She was hiding under a thick blanket, sobbing, hiding, and trying to be quiet. As she was hiding under the thick blanket in her bedroom, 2 cockroaches and 9 maggots then suddenly appeared clinging onto her legs, making her scared and scream. So she threw the thick blanket off the bed, then jumped backwards to the left side of the bed, making her fall. As she fell off her bed, she saw a scary face, a boy's face that looked very angry at her. The boy she saw at that time had some unique features. The boy's left eye was black, but it had a glowing ring on the center of his eye, but to the right eye, it just looked normal. The boy was wearing an old-fashioned uniform. The uniform was white, short-sleeved, and buttoned all the way down. His uniform is also very destroyed and ripped. He is wearing the old uniform of their school. The only thing that caught my attention is the wound on his forehead. The wound looks like it was shot by a bullet, and there is blood coming out from it. After she fell off the bed, she then felt a cold air blowing past her as she moved a muscle. She then looked back to see the source of the cold air, only just to see her large cabinet behind her opening. As the cabinet had finally opened, she saw 2 rings floating inside the cabinet. Below those 2 floating rings is an uncanny smile. A smile that is so wide and full of excitement. And as she went closer to the cabinet, those 2 rings in the uncanny smile then started connecting. She never thought that those floating rings are actually the eyes of another boy. There was another boy besides the one on her bed. This other boy had a very wide smile. He had the same white rings on his eyes like the boy on the bed had. The smile on this boy is very creepy, like it kept getting bigger and bigger the more I look at it. I named the guy Smiley, because he needed a name to not be mixed with the boy on the bed. While she was staring at Smiley with fear on her eyes, a familiar noise suddenly came to her ears. The noise is the door of her room slowly creaking open. She did not waste some time, she then ran towards the door as fast as she can. And as she was about to get out of her haunted room, the door then suddenly slammed to her, closing the door, giving her a headache, and trapping her inside of her own room. At the time she realized that she is now sadly trapped, she then panically started banging on the door, thinking anyone could help her. But no, while she was banging her hand or fist against the door, she then heard a cracking noise. She was facing on the closed door, she already knew that those monsters are there. She insisted on not looking back, but her intense curiosity told her to look back. So she got no choice, but to look back without worries. And as she looked back to see the noise, her emotions then became scared and full of worries. She saw those 2 boys. She then looked to the left, beside the door, and was surprised to see another girl with a wide open mouth, holding her head. My girl Lush was pretty scared and petrified about the girl in front of her. So she ran towards the window of her room. While she was running to the place near the cabinet or the window, her skateboard then suddenly appeared at her foot, making her slip and fall on the floor. While she was laying on the cold floor in her room, she then suddenly heard the exact same cracking noise. The noise came from the cabinet of her. And to her curiosity again, she looked at the cabinet just to see the 3 monsters looking at her, and they were laughing at her like they had a mission. After they stopped laughing like a maniac, the cabinet then began to fall, trapping my friend Lush inside the cabinet, giving her a realistic nightmare after the cabinet fell on her. And at that time, my consciousness then started to disappear, pulling me back to the reality.